As you all know, Shrek is my favorite movie of all time, but if I had to choose another movie that I love just as much, it would have to be Up. This movie is practically perfect. It has great characters, a great story, a great villain, funny comedy, and really tugs at your heartstrings. This was the first movie I ever cried at. This, in my opinion, is the best Pixar movie of all time. But we're not talking about the masterpiece of a movie, we're talking about its shitty tie-in game. Oh boy. So I've reviewed a few Pixar games on this channel. Some were good and some were okay, but this one is just straight up bad. This is honestly one of the worst tie-in games of all time, and that is saying a lot. And this is without a doubt the worst Pixar game of all time. Now there are some good things about it. Scratch that, there are some decent things in this game. For example, the graphics. Now the PS2 version, I believe, was done by Asobo, and if you've watched my Ratatouille game video, you'll know that I'm not a fan of Asobo's Pixar games. I always find their graphics so stiff and lifeless, not to mention way too blurry. But surprisingly, Asobo did a good job with the Up game. The graphics looked clean and vibrant and the models look good. I was very shocked by Asobo's not so bland presentation here. I have the same thoughts for the Heavy Iron version, which I believe is the Wii version, and it too honestly looks good. Again, the models and backgrounds look solid and not too shabby. The voice acting is pretty decent too. They sound like the characters fine, and some attack moves are actually pretty decent, like using Russell's magnifying glass to fight off snakes and other fools, and Carl using his hearing aids to stun enemies. But that's unfortunately all the good that this game has to offer. The rest of it is a DKSGRAC to very name of Up. First of all, the level structure. And this was a big problem for Ratatouille and other Pixar games. The levels are all the same format, and that format is not good or compelling. As you can see, it's a co-op game. Now, I'm not a fan of co-op games. Fuck, I think Shrek 2 is an overrated game, but that's not the reason I dislike the structure. Co-op can be done right. Pixar perfected it with The Incredibles: Rise of the Underminer, but the co-op here is just boring and tedious. You basically do the same stuff over and over again. Push some things to make a bridge or a step to climb, use one character to get across or up on something, solve puzzles, climb up more shit, and it's the same tasks just with different circumstances throughout the entire game, and it's completely sleep-worthy. There is nothing about the levels that is exciting, engaging, or even enjoyable, and that's another thing. The levels are extremely hard, like an insane level of hard. It's bad enough that these levels are so boring and bland that you feel like turning off the game right when you start playing, but the levels being this hard just adds the salt to an open wound. The boss fights are extremely dull and bland. You fight things like giant reptiles, Alpha and the dogs, and Charles Muntz at the end, but all are extremely boring battles. As much as people like to trash Rise of the Underminer, at the very least you have to give it credit. The boss fights were a lot of fun and not bland at all. These fights are so uninspired and lazy that they might as well have not even existed. The loading screens are just dreadful. The first time I played this game, I had to wait hours upon hours watching Carl's house fly for 2 hours straight before the game started. Just him walking back and forth in the house while it creaks. Hi, can something actually happen now? Out of all the Pixar movies made in the 2000s, single quotas, this is one of those that should have never had a game. The idea of a game could have been handled well and even playable if they actually put effort and heart into it, but they didn't. It was obviously to cash in on the movie's success, and to squeeze more money out of Up. That's it. It was not made out of passion or love, or because they had a great idea for an Up video game, and it really shows. Take my advice and never play this game. There's so many better Pixar games out there, like Finding Nemo, Toy Story 2, A Bug's Life, and especially The Incredibles, which perfectly captured the magic and fun of the movie in every single way. This game is related to Up in name only and nothing else. It's a forgettable, lazy, boring, bland-ass piece of shit that should have been sent up into space, and without a doubt the biggest insult to Up in all of its history. Stay away from this game and stick to Cars. Anyways guys, what do you think? I know you guys are smart enough to not waste your time on this piece of garbage. So instead I'm going to ask, what is your favorite Pixar game? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.